Yeah, sure. No, it's a great question. And really, to embed any kind of personalization strategy, it needs to come from the top. And so one thing that we've done at Lloyds Banking Group is ensure that when we think about personalization, when we think about the metrics that might be associated with a personalization strategy, those are actually driven from board metrics down. And so that drives then clarity across all the different operational units or different divisions that actually what we're trying to do here is develop a far more customer centric, far more personalized experience for our customers. And what we do really specifically for that is then have what we call the golden thread. And for us, the golden thread is that true lineage from the macro objectives, the macro things that we talk about at board level, down to the individual objectives that teams, units, even small feature teams might have, that everyone feels the products, services, offerings that we're developing all ladder up into that broader ambition of driving personalization. But really, it starts with that kind of top level sponsorship at the very top of the house. Yeah, I mean, data underpins everything in your personalization. So kind of starting with data, that's really important. But you reference a number of things there, and the I guess the other side of focusing on your data is focusing on the customer, and having a customer first mentality has to pervade through all your decision making. So if you think about it almost on two folds, you need to get your data strategy foundation right. You need to have good quality data that sort of addresses your part around the first party point. Make sure you've got good data, and with that, you need to make sure then as you start layering in new AI or new ways of working with that data, really thinking about the ethics of that, really thinking about sort of the structure of that data, how it's being used, why it's being used, and having the appropriate training and development around that. So that's kind of addresses the data. The next bit then is, right, well, how do you maintain compliance? And that's really having a strong customer centric culture in your organization, making sure that you really do understand, how customers perceive their data being used. And all the research that we've done on personalization shows that whilst customers absolutely expect personalization, they also have this huge expectation that their data is being treated sensitively and responsibly. And particularly when it comes to a regulated industry like banking, trust is at the core of that. So having that trust with your customers, you need to treat their data with utmost respect and utmost sort of the best way of thinking about data. I think with anything like this, the important thing again here is to see technology as a key enabler and data as the big enabler. But it's not just going to be solved entirely there. A lot of that comes down to making sure that, you have that customer first thinking, that you've got the right people and processes, around that. Um, I guess a few things that you can do though is certainly think about how mature is your data infrastructure, and that really comes to what are the things that to build good unique IP in this space, what can you build yourselves, then looking out there, it's such a fast moving industry, how can you partner with the right people, who are the partners you want to trust and you want to bring into the fold so that you can start thinking about the scalable personalized experiences. And then importantly, how as that ecosystem matures and gets more complex, how all these components work together. And again, that's important, really thinking about customer in here, thinking about the journeys they're on, and how that the technologies that you build to enable those personalized experiences start connecting up to create that, holistic joined up customer experience. And then the other thing to do, I guess, really is to really get on with your experimentation. Understand, find opportunities to experiment in a safe way, do lots of test and learn, understand what's working, understand which technology components are working, and then quickly move on and build on things that work well so that you have this more sustainable, long-term sort of machine of delivering great personalization. Working in a bank and particularly Lloyds Banking Group, we have a long history of using data to really drive customer experience. So we're starting from a position, I think, of relative strength. However, it's such a fast-moving world at the moment that it's really around modernizing that infrastructure. So I think, looking at how you might utilize things like public cloud infrastructure, looking at how you develop modern data products around it that are truly accessible, that have all the right metadata in place, that people can tap into those things, that they can quickly understand what's going on. I think there is a big myth around single customer view, and that's a really challenging thing to truly address. But you can do things to make that more easy. You can do things to make that data more available in your organization. I think the key thing here is transparency. How do you, and sharing, and having that culture of being able to share data, being able to share new ideas. And then again, I guess it comes to experimentation. What are the tests that you want to put in place to start seeing what's working? And have tightening those feedback loops in your experimentation, getting good measurement in place, that when you do something, when you try some new personalization, when you try and improve the customer satisfaction of a particular journey, of a particular experience, you're able to tie that back really quickly. You can see what's happening in real time or near real time, and then be able to quickly adapt to that. I think speed here at the moment, it's such a fast evolving world, particularly in the world of personalization with the introduction of some of the technologies that we're now playing with. It's that speed of response, the feedback loops are really having to condense down now. But building that out and a culture of experimentation around it, I think is something that's going to be really important. Oh, it's a great question. And in many ways, I think for us, we've been quite mature in use of data, but now we're getting to a point where customers are really expecting not just to have got the what right, but also the how. And the how is more on the play towards the content, the experience that you actually see and feel and breathe from a brand experience perspective. And that's requiring us to completely rethink our end-to-end content supply chain. And so for us, that's a very strategic play. That's a very strategic initiative to think about. So starting from the point of actually content creation, right through to your workflows that underpin that, through to actually getting the content out into your channels, activating, getting the feedback and the analytics back in, you need to look at that strategically and you need to invest in that. And that's something that we're doing at the moment. But again, it's not just about the technology, it's around the people and the processes and creating the right culture that we really utilize that you're thinking that actually when you talk to customers, recognizing that they're all looking for a personal experience and therefore your content demands are dramatically higher than they were a few years ago. And so creating the technology, creating that supply chain is going to be absolutely pivotal. One of the key unlocks in here, of course, is generative AI. And that is sort of where also I think, again, technology is moving at a real fast pace. Is going to be a huge enabler to what we do in personalization. So a kind of an exciting time, I think, in the world of content now, but one that actually has to really be there among some of your big strategic initiatives across any organization at the moment. I think personalization has really come out of the place of, maybe CRM and other initiatives that have existed for many, many years. So per se, it's not new. So I'm looking forward to talking to other brands, other vendors in the space who are all on the same high-paced, thrilling journey of personalization at the moment, seeing how people are adapting quickly, how business models are changing actually around, to accommodate customers' ever increasing needs for personalization. And for us in banking, it's, those experiences are now being set by non-FS brands. The experience that you have with your big media, conglomerates, for example, are almost setting the scene for how we have to personalized experience. I'm really looking forward to speaking to a variety of brands in this space, seeing how people are addressing that big challenge, and of course then how they're leveraging some of the new technologies that we've just touched on, like generative AI, to really help them scale that personalized experience for their customer.